Hi, Sharif. Just here in my garage. So glad to be talking to you again. If you don't remember, my name is Michael Bruce Purcell. I'm just getting back to you based upon the LinkedIn message you sent me. I sent you rather. I got a really great response from it. Based upon that, it seemed like you might be really interested in purchasing some of our CB shortwave radios for your organization to use in event management. This is just a little couple of the examples we have here, the product prototypes. And because of that, I'm sending you this video message to talk to you a little bit about who we are as a corporation, the products we sell, what CB radio is, and why it's supremely beneficial to your organization as an emergency management corporation. So a little bit about the corporation itself, CB Cyberdyne Communications. I'm Michael Bruce Purcell. I'm the lead salesperson for this organization. We're an organization that, as we said, sells citizens band radio systems to a lot of different companies, people who need to communicate across broad networks at relatively short range, tends to be 25 to 40 kilometers. That seems like it would be good for you doing emergency management, but we'll talk about the solutions and how that'll work for your organization a little bit later. So who do we tend to sell to? We tend to sell these systems to, for one, truckers, because they need to call kilometers when they're driving. So if you're calling, you need to drive around and receive a lot of public info over the radio and communicate that info to your team, it's beneficial to you. We tend to sell to emergency management response teams, such as yours. Obviously extremely beneficial for people who can't use the cell systems when cell systems aren't working. If you need to talk to a lot of citizens within a very short time frame and short area, and you need to communicate extremely important information, it's extremely useful. That's some of the advantages for you. We tend to sell to construction companies and event management companies because they need to talk to a lot of people within very short contact, but they can't just raise their voice, and they need to have a lot of sensitive information parlayed relatively quickly. These are advantageous for you. There also are some government contracts we do. So, a little bit about CB radio and a demonstration of why it might be important to you. So, as I said before, it stands for Citizens Band Radio. And basically what that means is you communicate messages over publicly available radio channels, a total of 40, although you tend to only use a few. How it works is basically these are the systems. This is called the base station. This is basically how you control which channel you're on so that everyone with the system's talking to each other. Your transceiver units, the walkie-talkies, these look like these here. We get 2 with every base station, although you can bargain with us to see how many you can get. We're very open to communicating with you upon what your actual needs for this organization are. You have a battery system right here. You can run it off battery, or you can have a plug into the wall. The battery system works quite well. A lot of people prefer that. For your organization, actually, you'd probably want a transceiver, so we can talk later about that. The transmission unit is actually here. You got that right here, little unit, which is going to be very beneficial to you. One comes with each sale. And we also have antenna systems. I'm in my garage. The antenna systems are outside, so I can't show those to you right now. But as we continue the sales process, you can talk to me about what your needs are, and we'll show you the strength of antenna you may need for the type of communications you may need. But a little bit more about why use CB radio. Okay, so you understand by now the basic premise CB radio is you have a system of radios, you tune the base station to the right channel, you get every person using the walkie-talkie here, using these buttons to get on the right channel as well, and then everyone who's on that same channel can hear what you're saying. That includes people not on your team, but I'll explain the benefits of that. So, a little bit of a story to you to explain the benefits and the real advantages of shortwave radio. So, take 9/11, for example. Obviously a terrible event and tragic event in human, especially American history. On that day, you might be thinking, okay, so why can't I just use my cell phone for all these communications? Like, what's wrong with cell phone networks? Well, on 9/11, about 90% of these cell phone calls people were making because of the horrific events that were happening failed. They were dropped because the cell systems simply aren't equipped to handle 9 million people making phone calls all at once. Citizens broadcast radio did not fail on these dates because only a select number of people are using them. It tends to be enthusiasts and emergency management response teams, such as yourselves. They're the ones using it. These are reliable. Furthermore, cell phones are one-to-one communications. Generally, you can do group calls, but those are not as good, and you all receive the information at once. So the feature that we're talking about is the fact that it's not used by the cell towers. The actual advantage that you get from that is that when you're in emergency areas, when it's, say, horrific terrorist attack, the cell phone towers aren't working. You're out in a rural area, the cell phone reception is weak. The advantage to you of using these broadcast radios is you can be in a truck, you can pick up the transceiver, you can talk to your team, and everyone will hear it. That's a virtual guarantee. They need to be on the same channel. You do need to be within a certain range. The range is about 25 miles, 40 kilometers, but it's much better than being in an area where the range for a cell phone is literally zero, zilch. That's the advantage to you. I'm sure you can see the benefit is you don't need to worry about the cell system, which isn't going to be working in your situations anyways. That's, I think, why a Citizens broadcast radio is going to be really beneficial for your team. Now, the second advantage we want to talk about here is so that you get a lot of local info in real time. Let's say there's a flood. Let's say it's like New Orleans in 2005. When you tune onto these radios, it's not just you. There are a lot less people talking about that, but the people who tend to use these broadcast radios are people in situations such as yourself, people who care about emergency management, citizens who are concerned about their own safety, maybe governments, and a few other people who tend to use these systems. These people are updating their info in real time. They're talking about the situation. They might be parlaying sensitive information such as, hey, me and my family are stuck. The water's up to, say, the second floor of our house. We're in rafts. We really need some help here. This is our approximate location. You don't have to cut through all the noise to get to that. You can rely on those people, right? That's the advantage, is the people who are on these are essentially reliable in these emergency situations. You don't have to cut through the noise. You can just talk to people, and they're relaying sensitive information about how high the water is getting, where they might be, what level of help they need. And if these people are using it in these situations, you can count on them that they're not just lying generally, in a sense. There's the trustworthiness and the advantage of being able to use that. So the benefit that your organization gets out of that is you can have a system of receiving information for your team that's reliable, because the people who use these systems are using them for a purpose, unlike for cell systems or other reasons that you might have thought would have been good enough in the situation. That's why you need a system. The cell system will not work. Furthermore, if it is working, there will be too much noise to cut through. You can't necessarily trust all the info. Furthermore, these people aren't broadcasting publicly using a cell phone. The video generally won't work in that situation. That's the benefit to you. Last little point is when you get on the right channel, you can be sure you're talking to real people in each and every situation. These radio waves are monitored. However, they're not monitored in the same way that, say, a cell system might be monitored. It doesn't tend to be monitored by people looking for a whole lot of dangerous stuff. So that you basically, when you use these systems, you're sure you're talking to real people with a specific problem, okay? So the advantage that your organization gets is that you're sending a lot of signals. These signals are not easily reproducible. These signals are not easily stolen. You're sure you're getting it from another citizen's broadcast. When you get a system on a cell phone, there's a lot of scammers and a lot of callers and a lot of people impersonating other people. Now, you may have this objection. You say, like, wait a minute. Do I know who's talking to me? Can't someone just pick up on this radio system and claim to be someone else? I think in your situation where there's an emergency management, it's unlikely that you'll be falling into that problem. Furthermore, it's not about specifically the system itself, it's about the people that use it. When you're on the system, you're connected to other emergency management teams specifically, so you're talking with a lot of trustworthy people. You tend to be talking to the government. You tend to be talking to concerned citizens. So the benefit it brings your organization here is you're in a network with trustworthy people who are looking for the same thing you're looking for. You can connect with them. That helps you solve the problem of where to deliver your supplies, who you need to speak to. You get updates in real time, and it's relatively trustworthy because if people are transmitting information as it's going on, it doesn't have to go through other organizations to be acclaimed, confirmed. Now, I think that's a little demonstration of why CB radio is going to be super beneficial for your emergency management team. I think that considering what we've talked about here, why don't you give me a call? No, I was going to say a call. How about you get on this radio right now? Give me a shot. It's channel 40. That's bandwidth 27.065. Get on this and we'll be talking to you later once I get you your unit, and I will see you soon. Thank you so much, Sharif. Thanks very much. And I will see you on Friday when we can talk a little bit more about this situation. Thanks very much. Bye.